you are told the column totals in a trial balance are not equal. After careful analysis, you discover only one error. Specifically, a correctly journalized credit purchase of a computer for $11,250 is posted from the journal to the ledger with a $11,250 debit to office equipment and another $11,250 debit to accounts payable. So the problem is we have two debits. We don't have equal matching debits and credits. The office equipment account has a debit balance of $26,663 on the trial balance, which means that that number, $26,663, includes the purchase, this last purchase of $11,250. So here's a trial balance that I've put some numbers on just to make this a more concrete example. The equipment account on a trial balance before this transaction up here was a $15,413. We have to assume that accounts payable is $11,250, and I'll talk about that more in just a second. And just to make this one balance, I just plugged it with a capital account of $4163 to make both sides be $15,413. Now, I got this equipment balance of $15,413 by taking the trial balance number of $26,663 and taking out this equipment purchase of $11,250. So before this equipment purchase, the office equipment account had in it $15,413. This entry was made incorrectly. It was a debit to office equipment for $11,250 and another debit to accounts payable for $250. So if you took this entry and combined it with this trial balance before, you'd end up with this. Office equipment $26,663, accounts payable 0, because that would wipe that balance out to 0 with that debit. And then this capital account would have $4163, and you can see you're out of balance. The debit side has $26,663, the credit side has $4163. The correct way to do this entry would have been to debit office equipment for $11,250 and credit accounts payable for $250, and then it would have shown up like this on a correct trial balance. Office equipment would have been $26,663. Accounts payable would have been the original $11,250 plus another $11,250 over here, right there, and that would have been a credit balance of $22,500, and the owner's capital would have been $4163, and both sides would have balanced with a balance of $26,663. So now, let me make sure I'll let you know that on this first one here, and there's a difference there. We can see the difference between the debit and the credit side of $22,500, and this is the only part of this problem that could be a wrong answer. It says the debit column total of the trial balance, that is this debit column total right here, this one, we're going to work with this one, assuming this one never happened. But this is one we're going to work with. The debit column total of the trial balance, the account status on that is correctly stated, and that is, it should have been $26,663 right down here, and it really was $26,663, and therefore the amount that we're out is 0. Now this is only true, part A, and that's where we have a little flaw in this problem. This is only true if you assumed that there was enough of a balance in accounts payable on the correct side to absorb this error. If there wasn't, then you'd have a debit balance in accounts payable down here, and it would throw this thing off. So that's what I'm assuming, that there was enough of a credit balance in this account, accounts payable account, so that when this incorrect entry is made, there was still a little bit of a credit balance or even a 0 left in here. If you don't make that assumption, then the first answer is this correctly stated is not right. Go to part B. Part B, they want to know the credit column total of the trial balance. What's the status of that? So The account status is it's understated. It's 4163 and it ought to be 26,663, so it's understated by 22,500. Part C, they want to know, let's see, the balance of the equipment account and the trial balance. The status that would be it's correctly stated and there's nothing out on that. You see, even on this incorrect trial balance, the equipment account is correctly stated at 2663 because you just took the 15,413 and added to it that latest purchase, and so you can see even on the correct one, they both match. Part D, the balance of the accounts payable account in the trial balance. The account status there is it's understated. You see, the accounts payable balance in this incorrect trial balance is 0, and it really should be 22,500, assuming we had enough of a balance to absorb that incorrect entry. And therefore, its amount out is 22,500. And now we go to part 2 of this problem. Part 2, if the debit column of the trial balance is 236,250 before correcting the error, that is, if it was 236,250 before we corrected this error, what is the total of the credit column before the correction? Well, it doesn't really matter what this total debit is, because no matter what it is, if there was only one error and that was the error up here, then there's going to be a difference of $22,500 no matter what the totals were on the bottom here. So the total of the credit column is 213,750, and that is simply just taking whatever they told us the debit side was, subtracting off $22,500, which was that difference between here and here. And if this 236,250 was up here, then this number would have been 213,750.